All right, guys, welcome back. So what we're going to talk about today is recording vocals, but not just recording. We're going to talk about editing your vocals, and we're going to talk about vocal chains, your side chains, your auxiliary sends, okay, your send effects, things like that, all right? Winning with blends, let's get into it. All right, first of all, ideally, you would have a pop shield for your vocals to avoid dropouts and these plosives, just essentially obliterating your words, okay? Also, record in a booth, a place where you can isolate sound, keep the good stuff in, and keep the bad stuff out, essentially, right? A good mic with a solid preamp. There are many ways you can go about this, so do what you can. Check the links in the description. I've got many questions answered for a great starter kit. Check those out, okay? Now, first things first, I'd say you want to edit your vocals to remove any unwanted noise, any unwanted mouth noise, breaths, paper sounds, fidgeting, etc. Okay, dead air, just headphone noise, feedback, a lot of it. Just get as much of it out of there as you can. Okay, this will make for a simpler mixing process. So now I'm going to show a couple of things. I've been working on this mix here, and it's actually one that I created a long time ago. I just found it, guys, and I had to just make this video. I felt compelled to. So let's dive in. I'm actually editing right here in FL Studio Mobile. You'll hear flagrant, right?
The smell of victory can be quite fragrant, but
so
this one is fleeting, aimless.
There's still a lot of work to do, 100%. But I want to take you through some of the processes here to see what we've done to get to this point where it sounds at least reasonably decent. Okay, okay. So some key things I would have to say is when you're going through the processes of doing your vocals, right? I would say one of the most important things to do is to use automation and gain staging, okay? Use a leveler to control the overall levels to fit your mix. Now, I'm not going to say do it to this level or this dB level or this. I'm not going to say any of that today. Just don't clip anything because it really depends on what you're doing. Sometimes I've made projects where I've exported vocals into and processed them in various ways. Sometimes it turned out great. Sometimes it turned out really authentic, but not necessarily good. So do things your way. We'll get into another video where we'll talk about specific levels. But today I'm just going to stick with the idea of us not clipping, okay? Not going past 0 for now, right? I would keep it much lower typically for just vocals anyway, but again, I don't know what you plan to do with your vocals. You may be using it for remixing purposes, and you're going to want them to be as strong as you possibly can get them in that case, and maybe even as loud as you want them as they can be for resampling, stuff like that. So let's not dwell on the little things, okay? For now. The finer points really was what I mean. So warmth, you definitely want to add warmth by boosting the 200 to about 500 hertz range. So you'll see I did that with this one over here. You'll see I boosted some of the 200. Let's see here, about 290. I've got a little bit of boosting there, pretty broad boost right there. I've got some more in other channels as well, and I'll get into this in a minute, I assure you, right? You'll see here I did some there, 208. So just kind of bringing a little bit of warmth out. Now, the vocal recording was not done extremely well. It was on the road. It was in a room, untreated, with a mic and no preamp, nothing really special. Just caught the energy for future processing, right? And maybe even it'll be reproduced in some time. But I thought this was a good opportunity. Now, you also want to boost presence, okay? Boost the presence in the areas around 1K to about 8K, okay? In various places, but be careful of sibilance, right? And you'll see, like, I've got some boosts up here, 1K to 10K, all here, little cuts and little boosts going there. And of course, I'll check this channel as well. You'll see some cuts and boosts there. Actually, in this one here, you'll see some, let's go back to this one, some boosts up here in the 1K to 8K range, okay? Now, right now, with the trouble is, let me actually put these on, so we'll check out some of the processes and see what I did and how I got to where I am right now with this mix that's just like not fully edited and also not necessarily the best performance, but it might fit really well into a certain song of mine. So I think it's I'm going to work with it for now. Okay. And maybe you guys can check it out, join the Discord. We'll talk about that and share that in the future. Okay. So right now, what you can use to work with sibilance to the best that we can within FL Studio Mobile is to use the multi-band compressor. This is one of the best ways. And of course, sibilance is those harsher noises, those S's, you know, those
no winds, just pace.
those stronger sounds like that, crispier sounds, right? So we want to get into that within the high frequency range, and we want to compress, maybe increase the ratio, okay, to cut that down. That's one thing I would say to use, because if we're going to be boosting a lot of the highs, let me pause that. If we're going to be boosting those highs, then we're going to need to control that. Those harsh S's, okay, we're going to need to control them. So one of the best ways for now, since we don't have a dedicated de-esser at this moment within FL Studio Mobile, you could still work with that, with compression in a variety of ways, okay, but definitely within the high frequency range in the multi-band compressor. That's one key thing, and we can get into some advanced side chaining. And you guys can see some other techniques that I can use and I've been using to create some new sounds, you know, new and unique sounds, right? And the beautiful things that you can also export them, save them, right? So you guys join the Discord, get some of these files if you want, some of these presets, and let's just have fun and share some stuff together, okay? So you also want to concern yourself with saturation, okay? More perhaps distortion, more saturation, pumping that sound a little heavier, perhaps maybe even through a little bit of increased compression. Okay, so for this particular one, I would use some distortion. So what I did was here, let's go out here so we can get a better view. All right, so let's just say I got the verse right here, one verse, and I've got that verse being sent to various tracks. Okay, let's look into this. It's a little deep, so let's go into it. I've got it sent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 channels here. And so what I'm doing is I'm strictly parallel processing everything. I don't exactly have the untreated sound coming through the master as you see right here. As a matter of fact, I'll put that right on so you guys can hear the original as we have it right now. Okay.
Notifications. There's no glory in this level of patience. It appears to be a blatant test of the ancients. Run the gauntlet, no winds, just pacing. Those winds that blow in holes.
Okay, so what I wanted to do, of course, is bring up everything, bring some life into it. Of course, right? That's kind of just like the ultimate goal. In a way, no matter what, you know, to create a fuller sound that's richer and deeper and brighter and, you know, more has more density, right? So you want to talk about saturation and distortion. And so I added that in this particular channel here. I just dropped 2 different types of distortion. Really simply, guys, I could definitely do a lot more to it, and I will, but I had to just rush in, to be honest, and just do this. I had to run in and do this, right? So I added distortion, but I can now control it, how much distortion I get. As you see, I've added a little bit there. So let me play it with just the extra distortion that I added onto it, right? So, and then of course I added some chorus and some reverb to give it a little more room. But one of the bigger things to do is adding some compression, because when you get a chance to do some parallel compression and just compression in general, in a vocal mix and a lot of mixes in general, it helps you to create a balance between the warmth and the presence that we created. So when we boosted those highs, as I was mentioning, between 1,000 to 8,000, we're boosting those highs. We still have to control that sibilance with this high band of this compressor for the multi-band compressor, right? But right, so we have to control it. We don't want to boost it and make it too harsh for the listener, right? We want it to be warm and fat, but also still bright and present, right? So the parallel compression, it helps us to bring in some sounds of the original recording, so we can.
There's no glory.
Let's take a listen.
This level of patience. It appears to be a blatant test of the ancients. Run the gauntlet.
So,
no winds, just pacing.
Let's check out this compression track. I've got it set to a fairly low ratio. in a way, but it's definitely, the threshold is really low and the attack is super slow and the release is super quick as you can get it here. And so I'm just trying to just take off as much, like, I want a uniform compression here that is really tight, maybe overly compressed, but enough to allow this one to shine through, the original to come through, but also enough for this, the process of this particular compression channel here to enrich the sound and to saturate it even more, to really bring up the bottom, the lower volume levels, to really bring those up essentially by bringing the top down. Okay, so we're bringing up the floor, the noise, we're bringing it up to the top. So it's going to get really noisy. Like I said, this was not the most fantastic recording, but it will likely fit into a certain type of song, perhaps I'll say.
Those winds that blow in whole statements.
So this is with it, with everything enabled, okay?
The smell of victory can be quite fragrant, but this one is fleeting, aimless, naked, vagrant. Slowly it sinks in with the thought through my thick skin when your highest status. Okay, so a couple of key things I would say. The last thing really is that within FL Studio Mobile, I would love to have a standalone de-esser. That would be fantastic. But currently we can really do a lot of magic with that multi-band compressor. So guys, I hope this one was useful for you. There's so many things you can do here. Check it out. You got, every channel is one thing of its own, as you see. Got my chorus, got some sidechain compression. I've got distortion. Oh, sorry, that's the chorus. That's the actual chorus. We've got some compression, a compression channel. Mind you, there's compression on everything already as well. Some levels of compression to tighten it up, but extra tighter compression to just make that rock solid sound if we can get it, right? A little bit of distortion to bring out some harmonics, okay? Spread it out a little bit to get some stereo width. We've also got a little bit of actual chorus effect. Again, more width, some movement in there, some modulation. Okay, some reverb to give it some room. I did EQ this channel quite a bit. I cut off some of the super lows, but still work to do, but still able to cut in there. And we went into delay. Okay, so that delay was actually added to the chorus, which I didn't play, which is fine. And then, which I'll play right now, as a matter of fact, why not? Okay, let's hear a bit of it. Is fleeting, aimless, naked, vagrant. Slowly it sinks in with the thought through my thick skin.
Make sure that we're coming through.
It's time to rethink things.
There we go.
It's never too far. It's never been too long. Impossible is nothing. Something is wrong. Amend and correct. Embrace or deflect. Double check, double check.
Right, so hopefully you hear that delay. I didn't have that delay in the original vocal. Okay, now finally what I did at the end was I just created a submix. So all of these channels, everything from here all the way down to here, everything all the way down is not going to the master. It's all going first into the submix. So within the submix, I have my leveler so I can adjust the overall volume to whatever I want it to be. And then I have more processing to give it some more warmth and a little bit more presence in a way. And I guess that's how I compensated for some of the sibilance so far in the mix, right? And a little bit more of a boost, as you see, in the body area, as well as a little bit more presence overall. And I've got a limiter here as well. So, you know, I'm just trying to create some balance, some more saturation. There's still a lot of work to do, guys, but I do hope this one was useful for you guys, all right? All the best, everybody. Look, winning with blends. Thank you for checking this one out.